So this video is about, are there adults who never grow up, always keep their toys at their pram, and never really mature or wisen up. Now, I know I often look about 12 still, and I'm in my 40s, but I have matured. It took me a long while because I wasn't ready to become an adult at one point, but at some point you have to grow up, and especially when you start working, you start earning your own money, you have your own place, you have children, you do have to at some point grow up, because you're always going to be that spoiled little child who, because they can't have it, you can't. And they're the people who, like my other video I did about those who pretend and those who are real. That's what they pretend they're mature when it suits them, but really there's still that child who wants to chuck themselves on the floor and kick their heels and feet, to get their own way. And you will come across people like that. And do they change? Sometimes they are, but often no. They will always be that child who feels like that they should have more than somebody else, because in some way they're a lower class to people if they don't have things that somebody else has got. They feel that they're worthy of everything under the sun. They believe that life is a free ticket. And there was times when I would act very immature, I'm not going to lie, but I've grown up. I've become wiser, and I've got to know a lot of adults who have actually showed me how not to be an adult, and they are the ones that still act like a child, and they're the ones that will never ever grow up. But you just got to let them be. Do you need to entertain them? Not really, because they often want a reaction from you, so why should I give them that satisfaction? And you find that they act mature when somebody is worshipping them, but as soon as nobody takes no notice of them, they start kicking and screaming and nitpicking, and they just live in this world of I'm still the child, and I have the right to everything where you don't. Because if they don't act like that, then they feel in some way that they miss out, and they are worthy of things more than somebody else. They never see, they often don't see both sides of the story, or both sides of the coin. They aren't open-minded. They are one-way mind. Now, do I hate people like that? I've got to the feeling where I don't feel anything, and that's it. I don't feel anything. It's not love, hate, or anything. I've learned through my life how to switch off my feelings, so I don't have any real feeling towards them. But it's something that can affect a person, of people who are like that way, because they're always going to be begrudging of your, of what you've achieved. They feel that when you achieve something, they lose out in some way, and it's all about them. Everything's about them. The whole world was built for them, and actually, no, we have to share the world, and you should have learned to share a long time ago. And if you haven't learned to share, then that's your problem. And they're the ones that, do adults ever grow up? Do all adults grow up? No, I don't think they all do. I think some still get locked in that childhood persona of I've got to have everything, you know. I don't want everything. I buy things that I like, but I'm not someone who wants everything anyway. There's some things I don't like. um, I don't want, I will never be a person who live off of things, but I still like to treat myself. If I've earned the money, I like to spend my money how I wish. I don't put it all away. I do invest, but if I want it, I'll buy it. But I don't begrudge somebody else from having that if I can't have it, because how is it their fault that that you know that they've got the money to spend when I don't? And that's why when I started to feel that kind of childish, because jealousy from is like a childish feeling. It's like, why should they have a nice car? Why should they have a nice home? Why should they have lots of money? Why should they be allowed to go on holiday? And it's that kind of, why should you have anything when I feel like I don't? And it's like, my question is then, so what have you not had in your life then? And then normally will say, I won't say a specific thing, it'll be everything. I've not had anything. And then I would be like, but you've got a roof over your head, you've got food on the table, you've got legs that can walk, you've got a nose that can breathe, you've got a mouth that can talk. So how do you feel that you haven't had anything? And they're the ones that will always feel like they've lost out in some way. When you go through it and you say to them, well, what is it that you haven't had? And they're the people who act like a child are the ones that can't give you that answer. Do I feel like I've been, unfortunate? No, I've just sometimes been around the wrong type of people. The people that feed you negativity, so you start to become negative and hate people. And working in like a call centre, you had mixed type of people, and people that would do good customer service, but they would moan all day and they would hate the world, and then you'll be exactly the same way. You start to hate the world and get angry with people. So negativity can be contagious. So if you look at previous videos, that's where you need to decide, well, do you still want to be around that person, or do you feel you'd feel better if you weren't near that person? And that's and the people that never grow up are always the ones that, as soon as you have a bit of cheese, for example, they're like, why have you got that bit of cheese? Who told you could have that bit of cheese? Yeah, that's how silly it can go. That's the kind of arguments someone who's never grown up will act over the most minute things, when they are in a house with a roof on it. They're not living in a a house full of cardboard. Like there are many people are homeless, and that they do sleep in a cardboard box. So how do you feel? And they're the type of people that actually don't feel that they've lost out. It's because they have nowhere to go a lot of the time, because of drug taking. Because a lot of people that are homeless are often perceived as, well, they got themselves there, and actually they haven't. It's probably because a lot of it is from broken homes where they've been thrown out, and they've felt like there's nowhere for them to go, and what are they supposed to do? That's why I do a lot. I'm doing these videos for Working Mind.org, because a lot of people that are on the streets will suffer mental health, because that comes with implications, because they don't know if they're going to wake up, dead or alive, especially in the colder, times of the year. And at Christmas time, I always think about the homeless, and that's where I will if I don't buy the big issue, all the time, I will make time to buy the big issue to support the homeless. And the big issue is a magazine that is sold by people who are homeless, and it helps them work to pay for sheltered accommodation. And so if you ever see somebody selling the big issue, do buy it, because it's a good magazine. Big issue, lots of good articles and very informative about things in general. Those who never grow up are always the ones that feel that they, had just struggled. Except it's not that they struggle, it's that they feel like they've missed out, not struggle, but they've missed out in some way when somebody's got something that they don't have, and they're the people that will, rub in your face of what they've bought, in a way of saying, look, I can buy a pair of shoes as well, like it's some sort of competition. And they're the people that will always be two-faced. They will always be snidey, and it's the little comments, and that you can see that they're the ones that will never grow up, because they will always be in that mindset of, I want everything you've got, because if I don't have it, why should you have it? It's that attitude of, why do you feel you're worthy to have those pair of shoes, and when I can't? And it's like, well, I'm not buying the shoes because of you. I'm not buying it to rob me. I'm buying it because I'm earning money, and I would like to spend on the things I like. It shouldn't have to be a question, it shouldn't be something that you need to answer to, that you're buying something that you've earned, and something that you want to have. Because I'm a saint, but when you begrudge somebody, you're just basically saying that you're not worthy. Not that they're making you feel worthy. You think yourself that you in some way missing out because somebody's got a sports car, when somebody's got a Vauxhall Corsa, for example, and it's like, well, I've earned the money, I've got the money to spend. Why do you feel you're missing out because of that? Life isn't about a competition, but those who never grow up are the ones that think that life is a competition. It's not. They feel they have to compete in everything that you do, because if they don't, then they're in some way being made to feel inadequate if they can't have the things that you've got. And they feel like they've never had the dream, because there's been people like you who've got the money to spend that stop them. And it's not. It's because they feel in their head that they in some way are always the victim. They're always there. And I'm trying to avoid the word victim, because victim to me is someone who, there's two different personas of victim. There's a victim who are generally the victim, but the people who are victims don't like using that word, and I don't either. And someone said to me, it's okay to use that word, but being honest with myself, I don't like that word victim. I don't like the word victim. So I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor, and I'm a strong-willed person. But I've had my struggles. I've had my issues, but I have grown up, because I see the world for what it is. That it's about sharing. It's about being honest. It's about letting people have their go, if you know what I mean. Have their space, have their time. And it doesn't. one of my friends, she works for the BBC, and I loved it because she was doing something that she enjoyed because she was very into television, and that made me, and I loved talking to her about the show she was working on, and you know people that she met in the job, and I loved being able to talk to her about that because I do watch TV. I have certain programs that I watch, but I don't watch really loads of TV, but I do watch certain TV programs. Where she loves the TV, she watches the soaps, she watches um, a load of comedies. She goes to lots of gigs, So I never once ever felt like I was missing out because she works for the BBC. It was the fact that I love the fact that she works for the BBC because I have that kind of connection with her, and we've been friends since school, and she has she did go on to do an A levels, and she got really good results in terms of the GCSEs, and then she went on to do an A level, and she did put the work in, and I admired her for that because she had a confidence in herself that I didn't have, and that's why she uh, was doing that job, and I admired that because I also worked for LWT, but in the cashier office, and I think it was bad time, and I got sacked. So where but did I begrudge her for doing that? No, it actually, it kind of was like, well, good for you, because it wasn't something that she fell into. It was something that she, because she worked before for a company in Goose Street, and sometimes we would meet for lunch. And then she worked at a couple of other companies, and it was the one job. I think it was working in another section of BBC, and then she became a publicist. So she, has do but worked the ladder, and I was proud that she'd done that, because she didn't just fall into it. She worked towards it, and she got to actually work on TV programs. So I admired that about her, and I loved that she had done that. And so, and I wasn't friends with her just because she works for the BBC, not that at all. It was because I admired how she went about it, and she seemed to be loving it, and I got a buzz from her because of it. It brought it, you know, and it made me see that I could do, I could fulfill my dreams too. I've just done it the long way, where she's done it the short route. But that's me. I always do it the long way. But any case, so those as I said at the beginning of the video, do I think there are people that never grow up? Yes, there are. Because they always have one mindset, where those who've grown up see the world like looking. As a child, I see, when you look at the world as a child, you're underneath the world because you're just developing, learning about the world, and learning about people, and learning about yourself. But then, as you become an adult, you then start to see the world like looking down, in a way that it opens the door to other realizations. And I think the world, isn't about having something that somebody else has got, but using somebody's determination and drive to help see that you can also be a success. And it's just childish behaviour is basically every time you buy something that they haven't got, they will start talking to you like with a kind of like, I've got it in for your attitude because you've got something that I can't have, you know. So no, I think there are people that will never grow up, but you just have to decide: do you still want them in your life or not? Or do you? Will they still have an influence in you in some way? For me, no, but I will still acknowledge that out of respect, but I'd rather spend my time with people who are, honest. Okay to talk about feelings, because, like I said, I've not been an angel. There's been times when I was that begrudging, and hadn't grown up. But I admit it, where those who will always be a kid won't admit it, because they're still in that childish attitude that if I do, then that means that I'm the smaller one, where you're the bigger one. And it's not about who's big and who's small. It's about how you come across to people, um, and not about how you are towards people. It's about how you come across, how you see other people. And I see people as unique, um, courageous, and uh, and inspirational. And that's how I see people. People who, have, like me, gone through struggles and challenges, but I've come out the other side, seeing the world for what it is, and embracing people, and not knocking someone down because they're in that childish mind of, well, if you can't have that, if I can have it, then you can't. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay.